Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week in education, the Teacher's Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are back after a 3-week hiatus. Life is busy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I was very happy when you texted me. You're like, I'm finally getting around to starting it, because I was like, man, I hope he's not waiting on me this whole time.
No. I've just been swamped, and I know you've been swamped, and it's hard to get out of a swamp sometimes. So,
yeah.
But no, we are back. We are here. We're finally going to talk about the movie we selected last episode. We're going to talk about the Oscar, which timing's good because this weekend is the Oscars.
Okay.
The Oscar-nominated film The Substance, starring Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. This movie was a lot sexier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, this movie was very sex. Like, it was...
Here's the thing.
Honestly, I liked, but I didn't like how sexy it was.
Coming from a guy, ignore the nudity. There was no sex in this movie.
No.
Like, and
check to see if
I know I checked it. Oh, there's one right now. But it's like there was none of that in this movie, and even like the nudity that was here wasn't sexy nudity.
Yeah, it was
just standing in front of a bathroom mirror.
Yes.
But man, like, there were a couple of these like dance aerobic scenes where the way that the filmmakers were shooting those scenes was like,
we are watching butts bounce. Like, literally, she's in like a thong workout leotard, and it's just
those
her
leotards
butt
were leotards were working very hard.
Yeah.
When we hit one of those early scenes, I did a double check because thankfully the writer, director, and producer of this movie is a female.
Okay.
And that helped me embrace it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Of just the acceptance of, because it's like, we've seen a lot of 70s and 80s movies where you've just got these just disgusting men directors that are just subjecting these female actresses to all kinds of just titillating body exposure for their own perverse reasons. And this movie brought some of that back a little bit. Like, it felt that vibe of like, ooh, I don't think I should watch this as a married man. But
there was
then
I'm
like,
lot.
Well, yeah. And it's like, it was effective. Like,
yes.
Sometimes you watch it, like, you'll watch a movie, and we're kind of all over the place. We're not even into the movie yet, but I think the plot of this movie is pretty simple, really.
Yes, it is.
But you'll see movies where, like, there'll be like a girlfriend that's supposedly doing like a sexy dance for her boyfriend, and it's not remotely like erotic at all, and it's comical because of it. And then there's this movie where you're like, whoa,
where
like,
it's just like Gene Simmons but sexy.
Yeah.
Isn't he the workout guy? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Imagine him, but erotica.
No, Richard Simmons.
Richard Simmons. Yeah, he's a Kiss guy.
He was
right?
the lead singer of Kiss.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I guess you could if you took Gene Simmons and Richard Simmons and put them together, that would be a type of dancing. But yeah. So this movie, nominated for several Oscar awards, including Demi Moore's first Oscar-nominated performance. It's in essence, it's a fairy tale, really. It's a fairy tale of sorts of what happens when your light is going out.
Yes.
We have this actress, Elizabeth Sparkle, which still fairy tale Disney cartoon type name.
But lives in a castle, like,
right. But I really do.
This?
I think these, obviously they're intentional. You don't accidentally write and film this stuff. But I do think that it's designed that way to be fantastic. You've got Elizabeth Sparkle, 50 years old, hanging on to every last strand of Hollywood stardom she can have. Everyone.
Every last strand. And here's the thing. If I turn 50 and I look like her, I'm set. I don't look like her and I'm 28.
Demi Moore was almost 60 when she made this movie.
It's insane. She's beautiful.
Yeah. She is, in my opinion, she is much more attractive now at 60 than I found her in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Where she was just kind of, she was cute, but very baby faced and it was just cute. And we've talked on the show before the difference between cute and beautiful.
Yes.
And sometimes people can pull it off. They can evolve between the two. And Demi Moore is one that I feel has evolved between the two.
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly being another actress that was very cute in her younger, acting days. And you look at her now and she's stunning. And that's where Demi Moore is. And again, in my opinion, I'm sure there's people out there that are anti Demi Moore or they're pro early Demi Moore. But I'm like, 60 years old, good for you. Like, you've got it going for you. Long story short, her career is dwindling. About the only thing she has is this aerobics TV show, and they let her go. She's just it's
who I forget who's the guy actor.
Dennis Quaid.
Oh my gosh!
I never want to see a person eat shrimp again in my life.
Yeah, like he's disgusting.
Yes.
He's the scariest, most horrific thing about this movie.
Yeah. He is that Hollywood man. She's a commodity and you're not making us any money, so you gotta go.
Yeah.
There's a human being behind this, and that's really where this movie takes off is, Elizabeth is let go from this job. It's the last legacy of her career. And even the show itself is very 80s-esque aerobics, and this doesn't have a time on it. Like this movie just takes place, it does have a cell phone, element to it, but it just takes place. She gets in a car wreck. She ends up in the hospital, and the physician's assistant or the nurse or whatever, who is a very young, very chiseled, strapping-looking young man, has slid something into her coat pocket.
And he just says, it changed my life.
That's all he said. It's a flash drive. And of course, it's mysterious. There's no nonsense. There's no anything. The movie actually kicks off with showing us exactly what happens is they injected a shot of the substance into the yolk of an egg, and then the yolk separated into another yolk. Okay, so that's really what the movie's about. Not about the egg, but about the separation. So, blah, blah, blah. Elizabeth decides, I want to do the substance, and come to find out that basically what happens is you are splitting yourself in two. There is a younger version of yourself, but you both are one. And every 7 days, there's this space capsule type, it's very scientific you must feed each other. Here's day 1 food, day 2 food. And it's all injectable substance or whatever. But it's every 7 days you have to swap so that the other one can restore. So you have 7 days on, 7 days off. And you're not, and it's the other body is a shell. You're not conscious when you're out. So there are a younger version and an older version that are not ever seen at the same time until later. And so it gives her an opportunity, Elizabeth, to regain her youth and live those years again. And so that's what she does. And the effects of this are very physical. They're very gross. They're very visual and detailed as well.
Yeah.
She injects herself with a substance. The skin on her spine rips open, and basically a 20-year-old hottie just crawls out.
And I just I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but I feel as if they did a very poor job casting the younger one.
I see. I never
didn't like her. I don't think she's sexy, and I honestly think that was a big problem that I had with this movie.
Okay.
I just don't like. You know
what? I have to tread lightly because I'm 45 years old.
I don't even know how old this girl is.
Well, I know she's obviously old enough because they're exposing a lot on screen. But I in an effort to avoid sounding like a creep in a review,
I get that.
You know, that the filmmakers did a lot of work to up her sexy factor.
Yeah, and I just think because like Elizabeth Sparkle's gorgeous.
Right.
And there might be people out there that think no, she's not. Like, so when I saw the body creeping out and I saw this actress, I was like, wait.
Right. She's cute.
Yeah. And I felt like she was supposed to be sexy. Like, we wanted a hot, new, beautiful, like, we wanted someone hot to come in.
Right. And I get that. I don't think the story I don't think we were ever supposed to expect a younger version of Elizabeth.
Correct. It was just because I think the younger conscience.
Yes. Because I think that leads to a whole different discussion when suddenly 50-year-old Elizabeth has disappeared, but this new girl who's a spitting image of her only at 20. Yes. Like, I think that's a whole different story. I think this was here's your byproduct. And we see it later with when we run into the old version of the nurse. Like, there's no physical recollection for either one of them. But yeah, the movie, I will agree with you. And again, I'm 45. I consciously do not find younger generations, younger aged women.
Yes.
Like, I can't do it.
I get that. Nope, that's fine. Yeah.
Can I recognize attraction? Yes. You know, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to look at someone and be like, I don't know if she's cute or not. Like, that's dumb. Like, that's stupid. But like, my daughter's 14. Yes. You know, like, I can't look and recognize, because it grosses me out to even think it.
Mm-hmm. And so I totally get that.
And thank you for understanding that, because we are talking about a very sexy film.
Oh, for sure.
Up into a point.
Yes.
And they definitely do work very hard to make Margaret Qualley they work very hard to make her body sexy. Like, with what she's wearing, how they're filming what she's wearing, like, they are working, like, they work very, very hard to say, look how hot she is. So I recognize that, and I can respect that from a filmmaker standpoint. You're not giving us some completely unattractive human being and trying to sell us. She's got the ingredients to be an attractive person.
She just looks like someone I'd see in Gossip Girl or something. Like, she
looks like a child.
Yes.
Like, not a kid, but she just looks like a very, very young, very naive.
Yeah.
And it's like, you see someone like that, and especially the way she's kind of bubblegum smiling, and it's like, you know,
and her name is Sue.
Right. But that also adds to another level of gross for me, because she comes in as this embodiment of young and beauty, but even the way that, like, Harvey, like Dennis Quaid's character, and some of the other investors, the way that they just oogle her.
Your body parts are all in the right places.
Exactly. It's so disgusting. Blech. But it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
Yes, it is.
So we get this back and forth. Elizabeth is out. Sue is in. Sue's doing her thing for a week. Well, then comes the controversy. And this is what we knew would happen. Sue doesn't want to go away.
Yeah, she had like a date or something. And
she's having a great time.
One more night.
Well, and we're not even there yet. At the first time, it was like she was invited to a party, and it was her last. Like, she was out of days, So she takes, and there's a real like drug abuse theme in this movie too. But she's supposed to be extracting like the spinal fluid of Elizabeth to last her 7 days. Well, she runs out of these 7 days. So she takes the needle and extracts a little bit more just to keep her going. Well, when Elizabeth wakes up the next morning, like she's pulled away some of her essence. She's got this like gnarly finger.
And it is so so old looking.
Yes, it's this gnarly, just grotesque witch's finger.
Yeah.
You know, just this hag's finger. On this beautiful person, it just doesn't fit. Well, Elizabeth still, because now she's got this finger, she restricts herself from going out and enjoying her week. So she understands what happened. She basically just sits and eats all week long, which then she's not supposed to. She's only supposed to be like consuming the substance. So when it's Sue's turn to come out, like all of this food that has been, that it's now been passed through to Sue. So she runs into this where she's got like this chicken leg. It's just weird. It's gross and it's weird and I love it. So Sue more and more and more wants to stay out. And every time that she extends the time, it turns Elizabeth into this just hag. And they get to an issue where the life essence is draining from Elizabeth. So Sue no longer can even get her 7 days worth. Like, she just, and they call this hotline, and the hotline's very clear. You are one. You must respect the relationship. 7 days on, 7 days off, and you can do this forever.
Regenerate by switching bodies back, and that's that.
And if you ignore it, like that's the only way that can happen. And this is where Sue's got a date. She brings him home. She starts to basically break down because I need more time, and she's out of time. So and Elizabeth's got no more fluid. So Sue makes the swap, and Elizabeth is just this like forest witch, like just
great. But where have we seen this before? Because I've tried like Google reverse searching it, and I cannot figure out, like, this lady, I've seen her before, and I feel like it's a movie where you're
in the hag form.
Yeah, like this old lady, and I just
that's Demi Moore in makeup.
No, but we've seen, like, there is a character out there that looks just like Demi Moore in this makeup, and it was watched a movie, and you're like, oh, this part's gonna. I wonder if there's one really disturbing part that I, remember from this movie. And she turned like this old lady, and she's so gross. And I feel like she's upstairs in a house.
Pet Sematary?
I think so.
But yeah, she didn't look anything like Pet Sematary.
I feel like
she looked more like one of these like forest witches from. Remember that movie we watched where there was the old witch, and she like kidnapped the young girl and helped her evolve into a witch. Okay,
maybe that's what. And
like is. That's who she reminded me. Like she was never really like, she only like appeared, and this girl kept like body switching throughout the film. Movie? I can't remember, but I remember really liking it. It was very fairy tale.
Yeah, it was.
So we get to a point where Sue's out of options, and Elizabeth she's out of options. Like, even when Sue goes to rejuvenate, Elizabeth is trapped in this like old hag form. She can't escape it. So she decides that we're done. Like that.
Yeah, we're quitting.
Yeah, and so like Sue starts to deteriorate. So Sue gets this idea. And I love it. They get into a fight for one. It's the night before New Year's Eve, and Sue is supposed to, like, she has gotten promoted to host the New Year's Eve telecast, which is like the big deal.
Yeah.
Sue runs out of the stabilizer, calls the number, and they're like, "You got to switch back."
Mm-hmm.
So they do Elizabeth, Elizabeth gets, this is where she's like this hunchback and she's never going to be herself. So she finally is like, like you said, I want to end it. She calls the company. She gets the termination serum because that's under her control. She's the Matrix. She's the original. She can kill the second one and live the rest of her life. She gets like 80% of this injection done and then decides, I can't do it. Well, it's enough to wake Sue up. And so now both figures are there.
Yeah.
And Sue beats the living tar.
Yeah.
Like it is a extremely physical fight between these two and kills her. She kills her. She kills Elizabeth. So now the Matrix is dead and it's the clone, the replicant that is there. And she's out of stabilizer fluid. So she has this idea. There's a pack left of the substance, the separation, the activator. And Sue decides, I can buy time. I'm going to make a clone of me. Clone's not the right word, but you get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a second version of me. And then we'll do this together. Well, she's not the Matrix. It was single use only. And we get this monster. Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Just this grotesque mutation. We get a really sad scene where she comes to and realizes that she's part Elizabeth, she's part Sue, she's just this monstrosity, but she's got to go host the New Year's Eve show. So she gets dressed, she puts earrings on and puts makeup on. She actually takes Elizabeth's, like, cut her face off the poster and like put it on herself and gets down to the New Year's Eve show. It gets stupid silly here. I'm not denying that. The movie goes a complete like left turn into Ridiculousville. But it's the New Year's Eve show. They're doing all the singing, all the dancing. She comes out on stage and it's all a dream at this point, kind of like you can't tell what's real, what's not. The mask falls off. The show, the audience just goes chaotic, and audience member comes up and chops her head. Like, there's so much blood and viscera, but it's well shot, and decapitations, and like every time something's cut off of her, something new grows out, and it's just like this monstrosity of like, there's like 30,000 gallons of blood in this scene.
Oh my god.
All shot through a fire hose. It's just so over the top ridiculous. The monster, what they call Monstro Elizasu is what they called it. She like flees the studio but falls and just explodes.
And just becomes like those organs, like
just explodes.
Right on her star, though.
Yeah, just south of Elizabeth's star. The part of the body that housed Elizabeth's face somehow grew like tentacles and starts crawling in it. Like it's a little heavy-handed, but it comes to a stop on her Hollywood Walk of Fame star. And she smiles. She's got this admiration, and then just the next day gets scooped away by a floor scrubber. And this movie is all about not accepting your path in life, holding on to that youth, and not having a willingness to age gracefully, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what would you do to recapture your past?
Yeah.
And obviously it didn't work out for Elizabeth. Not at all.
People get too greedy.
Yeah. Like, and that's what it was.
Don't be greedy.
Yeah. I texted you when I was done. I said I really liked it. You said you were indifferent through most of it.
Yeah.
You're quite a bit younger than I am.
Yes.
Like, because I'm 45 and you're what, mid to late 20s? 28. Yeah. So late 20s. Like, so I mean there's enough of a gap. I wouldn't go back. If I had if I like at 45, I'm almost 50. I mean, I'm almost Elizabeth's age. there's nothing I would go back for. Like, I've enjoyed my journey, I've enjoyed my path, but I don't want to relive or attempt to recapture the glory of those formative 20 years, 20 in my 20s. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, I just sit and I'm like, I don't see granted, you and I were also not alone like Elizabeth.
Right. Yeah. She was alone. And she didn't realize that until everything was taken from her. And then it's like,
and it's
I
like,
really am alone in life.
Yeah. Not only alone, but abandoned as well. Like, she had the show and her coworker dancers or whatever. She seemed to have she seemed polite. I mean, she didn't come off as, like this Hollywood diva that, everything's my way or the highway. But she just was alone. Like, the one instance she had was she come across early in the movie a person she went to high school with, and he's just like, you've always been the most beautiful person in the world. And early on, she was
so beautiful,
right? And early, in that interaction, she was very she wasn't rude, but just dismissive of him,
right?
Like, whatever. But then as she starts this substance transformation, and she's sitting there with her like gnarly finger looking at it, she realizes this guy wants to give me attention. And so she reaches out to him, and then and one of the, honestly, the most heartbreaking scene of the movie to me, she gets all dolled up for this date, and then just continues to destroy herself. Yeah. She looks great. She's very, put together, and again, I keep going back to the stupid word, but like, just, she's very sexy looking, and she's feeling good about herself. And then she keeps looking over at Sue laying on the floor and realizes that no matter how hard I try, I can't be that. Yeah. And so then she like closes up her top so it's not as revealing, and she changes her makeup, and eventually she scrubs it all out. I mean, she basically just ends the night in a pool of her own misery, ignoring calls and texts from this guy. Like, did you get hung up? You okay? But she can't allow herself to be happy. Because she gave all of that to Sue and can never get it back. What'd you grade this thing?
I'm going to give it a C+.
Okay. I'm going to go an A. But I doubt I'll watch it again. Yeah. I liked it. I did. And I do. But I've seen it. I get the story. I get the message, and it's worked against itself. There's two. This movie is sexier than it is scary. Yes. And no part of this is like, it's not like jump out of your seat scary. It's just the body horror, monster, blood, like the storyline of dissection and very sci-fi, like, but those are just fun filmmaking quirks with this film. And the attention to sexiness is up there with the attention to the horror. And it just, I'm not comfortable watching this 20-something-year-old actress, an actress younger than you. I'm not comfortable as a married man and a father watching this young lady do this. Yeah. I saw it once and I was like, I recognize what you're doing. I'm not uncomfortable watching it because I've not seen this movie before. Yeah. But to then revisit it is a choice. Yes. And I'm like, I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. It's just, that's where I'm at. And I hope it wins the Oscar for Best Picture, only because horror movies don't get nominated for Best Picture, let alone win Best Picture. Silence of the Lambs was the last one to win the Oscar. Like, Get Out was nominated. But it's like, this was good. I really hope Demi Moore wins Best Actress at the Oscars. I do. I wish that for her, because it's been a very long Hollywood career for her. And this was kind of let's see if we can make something out of her. And she's nailed it. So I really hope that there are some victories here for them. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna excuse me. I'm not gonna ask which characters we identify with, because honestly,
I was gonna say the neighbor guy.
Oh yeah,
I liked him.
The one that when he thought Elizabeth lived across the hallway and she was too old and nasty for him, and then go ahead.
These were probably my like two favorite parts. Like he's like Sue is like remodeling the bathroom to find a place to hide this body.
She's creating this closet.
So she's loud, and he's just like banging on the door, like, Elizabeth, I've got a complaint for you, blah blah blah. And he's a total loser.
Oh
looking.
yeah,
like
like
And then Sue opens the door. He's like, "Oh, I'm handy. Like, let me go
meet. Yeah.
I've got a big hammer, if you know what I like. Let me go. It
was very. This movie was funny. Like it had some humor to it.
And then when Elizabeth is that like old like hunchback hag witching lady, and she like goes to get the finisher and like opens the door, and he's like, "Hey Sue," and she's like, "F off," and just like takes out and he's just like, "What?" Like I was cracking up at that part, but. Yeah, I was just gonna say I would be the neighbor because I feel like he was always in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Fair enough. I do like that character. Margaret Qualley, the actress, is 30. Okay. Not that makes it any difference, but
she looks 15.
And her mom. Okay, this is the fun part because I'll say the name and I don't know if you'll know it. Her mom is Andie MacDowell. Does that name say anything to you?
Yes.
Do you know that name? She was on Groundhog's Day. Okay, you've seen Groundhog Day. She also was like the mom in Ready or Not, which we covered just the last episode or 2 episodes ago. Yeah, the one that was like, welcome to the family, and then like, turned on her. Yeah, that's that. Andie MacDowell is Margaret Qualley's mother.
Got you.
Andie MacDowell started her career as a model. Margaret Qualley also started her career modeling. Her dad, like Andie MacDowell, was a model, and the dad, Paul Qualley, is a model. So, but yeah, I get it though. Like you look at this Margaret Qualley, and she's cute, but you feel that like she would be a better fit on like a Little House on the Prairie movie.
Yeah.
Just kind of this wholesome look to her. And so, yeah, it is what it is. Dennis Quaid, I thought, did a great job just being disgusting. Yes. Just disgusting. So, all right, well, let's try to get another one in before 3 weeks. All right. Hopefully for the two of us, our next 3 weeks are not as busy as the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we talked pre-show. This was my pick. And we could go with yours. We could do a shuffle. I don't care what we do. So what do you want? I know you said it before, but what do you want to do?
We'll do the Fangoria.
You want to do a Fangoria?
We'll just pretend that Ready or Not was my movie.
Okay.
And then
yeah, fair enough. It kind of was.
Yeah. Like we talked about it. That was for sure watching it.
Yeah, we'll just watch it. So, all right, we have 88 movies left on the Fangoria list. And next week, we are going to watch a 1994 movie called Cemetery Man. I've seen this movie once. A cemetery man must kill the dead a second time when they become zombies. It's a zombie
When did you say it came out?
1994.
Okay. I thought you said 84, and I was like, mine 94. Says 94. Okay.
No, perfect. 1994. A very young Rupert Everett is in this. And so Rupert Everett he's been in a lot of stuff. Like you might recognize, you might not. He did the voice of Prince Charming in the Shrek movies, and he's been around. You might recognize him, you might not. But Cemetery Man is the movie for next week. Again, it's been a very long time since I've seen this movie. It's going to feel like a brand new movie. And so it'll be a fun one. I like these
yeah.
Fangoria ones.
Yeah.
I do. like these Fangoria ones because they're fun and they've got something to them. And they're probably not great, but he's basically like a cemetery caretaker, and this is just part of what life is like for him. Is I've got to do these things. So it is in English, even though it's an Italian film. It is in English. So directed by Michele Soavi, who I think I've seen some of his stuff. I don't think we've done any, but all right. So you got anything before we go?
No. Warmer weather's coming.
Yes, it is. It's been very nice out. Very nice out. Social media wise, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Get the YouTube shorts going, as well as the episodes you can, listen to on your favorite podcast app or, watch on YouTube. And we hope that you enjoy this episode. We hope you enjoy the show. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff that one asks when you watch our videos. And for another week of Education, we are going to try to be back with another one next week, we promise. But don't hold us to it. Life happens. But for another episode of Education, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.